The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. President Bongbong Marcos says that Philippine troops will not be deployed if war ensues between the U.S. and China over Taiwan. Maricel Halili with the details.
Well, the short answer is no. The United States has never said that this is a possibility, and we have also made it clear from our end that we will. This is not the purpose of those sites.
This was the quick reply of President Bongbong Marcos when asked if the United States is expecting Filipino troops to be deployed. This is in the event of the U.S. and Chinese conflict blowing over on the issue of Taiwan. Before the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, the president reiterated the purpose of military bases in the Philippines under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA. The chief executive clarified that EDCA sites are there to facilitate response to calamities and are not launching pads for any attacks against any country.
The EDCA sites were meant to be conceptualized really to be the places that we could use so as to be able to provide quicker relief, quicker rescue, do a better job, in other words, of rehabilitating and reconstructing the damage that will be caused by these disasters. That's really the basic premise of the EDCA sites. The United States will use the EDCA sites as staging areas for any offensive action against any country.
But as relations between the Philippines and the United States grow warmer by the day, there's China that remains cold to the idea of partnerships playing out at the expense of peace in already tensed regions. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said that they are opposed to any alliances aimed at meddling in territorial disputes, insisting that the South China Sea is not a hunting ground for any nation. President Marcos is all for the resolution of sea disputes through keeping lines of communication open, even a direct hotline between Manila and Beijing.
I suggested that we institute a system wherein we have a direct contact, one president to the other. If I cannot speak, for example, to President Xi himself, I have someone that I can pick up the phone and call who I know and I have confidence in making my message arrive to the president. And this works, of course, both ways.
Marcos Jr. also did not feel alluded to by the recent statement of China.
I think that kind of statement was directed more towards the United States than it was for the Philippines. I think the Philippines' actions are in continuing to strengthen our capabilities, to continue to find and forge partnerships with the United States, and both in the governmental sector and also with the private corporations that we have spoken to.
On the Mutual Defense Treaty, President Marcos said defense bilateral guidelines have been laid out to clarify rules on the pact's implementation. He noted, though, that the provisions of the 1951 MDT remain intact and unchanged.
We're not yet there. What we did in this trip and what we have managed to formulate are the guidelines pa lang doon sa mga magiging provision at saka magiging detalye.
PBBM's 5-day official visit to Washington supposedly yielded investment pledges worth around $1.3 billion. Before ending his U.S. trip, the president honored unknown soldiers at the Arlington National Cemetery. From Washington, the president is off to the United Kingdom for the coronation of Britain's King Charles III.
Isa sa pinakamalaking dahilan kung bakit ako pupunta ay kilala namin si Prince Charles pa ang pagkakilala ko sa kanya. Namatay nga si Queen Elizabeth. Hindi ako nakapunta. Kaya sabi ko naman, ay palagay ko dahil magkakilala kami, dapat naman napakalaking bagay na siya'y kukoronahan bilang hari ng United Kingdom, ay dapat makapag-attend na ako.
On the sidelines of this historic event, for the British, President Marcos is expected to have informal talks with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and other leaders. The president will be in the UK until May 6th before flying back to Manila. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Meanwhile, security experts have weighed in on the Philippines' defense agreements with the United States. Former National Security Advisor Clarita Carlos believes that there is a need for sub-implementing rules and regulations for the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA. This way, Carlos says, rules of conduct will be clear for both nations.
Remember yung EDCA, nakatukod siya sa DFA? Yung nakatukod ng EDCA, wala siyang sub-IRR. Kanya nga palagi kong sinasabi, dapat magkaroon siya ng sub-IRR kasi magkakagulo na naman sa operational definitions.
Meanwhile, security analyst Romel Banlawi says that the Philippines cannot invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty in territorial conflicts. This is especially true in the situation of Beijing, which has laid claim on almost the entire South China Sea.
Based on our experiences, mutual defense treaty cannot be invoked in our territorial disputes and maritime jurisdictional courts in the West Philippine Sea. We cannot use it unless we are directly attacked militarily by China. And China has no intention to attack us militarily.
More stories still to come after this quick break. Stay with us here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The scheduled Philippine airspace shutdown later this month has been shortened from 6 hours to 2 hours. The maintenance activity will now be conducted from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. on May 17. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, made this announcement after, quote, careful process reviews and simulations. It also said that contingency measures will be implemented to help minimize the shutdown's disruption to air traffic operations. The airspace shutdown will make way for the replacement of the Uninterruptible Power Supply, or UPS, of the CAAP's air traffic management system, which caused massive flight glitches on New Year's Day. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Headline inflation slowed to 6.6% in April, according to the latest data from the Philippine Statistics Authority. This figure is lower than government and analyst estimates and cooler than the 7.6% print in March and 8.6% in February. The PSA says the slower rise in prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages, as well as lower transport costs, help tame inflation. Comelec has affirmed the disqualification of Legazpi City Mayor Carmen Rosal. Comelec says it found Rosal accountable for vote buying when she conducted a 2-day cash assistance payout for tricycle drivers on March 31, 2022. What this means is that second player Alfredo Garbin Jr. will be proclaimed duly elected mayor of Legazpi City. And And 74 more Filipinos from war-torn Sudan were brought home on Thursday. This brings the total number of Pinoys repatriated from Sudan to 182. Another batch of OFWs from Sudan are expected to arrive in the Philippines tomorrow. And here's some news from the Southeast Asian Games in Cambodia. The Philippines has the second most number of medals, with a total of 7 so far. Just above us is host country Cambodia with 5 golds and 4 silvers, adding up to 9 medals. Coming in third is Thailand with 1 gold, 1 bronze, and 1 silver and 1 bronze. Laos is at 4th overall with 1 gold and 3 bronze medals. Meanwhile, Indonesia has 6 medals so far, 1 silver and 5 bronzes. SEA Games action continues tomorrow with the opening ceremony happening later tonight at 7. One News Now will be back at 5:30 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.